Why all the emphasis on compost? Just about every gardening show, YouTube channel talking about gardening, you hear a lot of emphasis on compost. Here at Whirlwind Family Farm, we have anywhere from 12 to 14 yards that are trucked in each year. Certainly not cheap, not inexpensive at all, and this is organic certified. Most of this pile of organic compost has already been used because it's been put out on our beds. Now that's something that takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of effort, and I know because most of the time I am the one that does it. So it's a lot of work. And I wouldn't be doing all that work and putting compost down if it wasn't for a good reason. And that's exactly what we're going to address here, but in a very simple, uncomplicated way, because I'm certainly not a biologist. I'm not the expert on microbiology, but that's really what it boils down to with compost. So whenever you think of gardening, whenever you think of a healthy, organic-based garden with good, healthy vegetables, that's where compost is so important. So why the compost? What's the reason? So first of all, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that we have our compost trucked in because on an acre this size, we can't make enough compost to be able to service this entire garden. But that doesn't mean that's true for you. In a small backyard garden that's 20 by 20, 30 by 30, you can certainly have a compost pile that could be more than adequate for your backyard garden and serve the purpose of being able to put down compost in a smaller setting. So that is something to keep in mind when we talk about compost, is you don't necessarily have to go out and buy bags of compost, bring them home, because that can be expensive. You can make it over time. So back to the question, what is the point and why do we need compost? Well, I'm going to start off by telling you a quick little story that my dad told me. And I don't think he even realizes the significance of this story when he told me. He told me about a couple of sisters. This was back in the late 50s, early 60s, that raised flowers and then sold them commercially. I think it was on a small 2 or 3 acre area from what I was told. And they did well. They had flowers season in, season out. This was down in South Texas near San Antonio. And one time he ran into them and said, "How's the flower business going?" And they said, "Well, that garden, that field we had just doesn't produce anymore." And the first thing that came to my mind, now nobody told me this, but the first thing that came to my mind is they just weren't replenishing that organic material. They weren't putting the nutrients back in the soil that those flowers were taking out each season. So there's one of your first keys right there, is you've got to have that organic material that's putting the 3 major nutrients that plants have to have, which is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Those are the 3 main minerals. There's others out there, of course, but without those, your plants are simply not going to thrive. And that's where organic compost really does serve that purpose. So my thought always was for years that compost is put down, it's putting those 3 key nutrients, potassium, nitrogen, phosphorus, down so those plants can uptake it. And that's simply not right either. The truth of the matter is there's microorganisms that live in that soil, and what we're trying to do is keep them as healthy and prosperous as possible because they are taking those nutrients, breaking them down so the plants can have an easy uptake. So they're providing the actual finished product, those microorganisms, breaking them down so the plants can then take them up through their roots. So that's the importance, along with the water that allows those roots to be able to have that uptake. It's simple and it sounds simple. And I know if I was a biologist, I could go into a much more in-depth of how it's done, but that would just bore you to death. But really what it boils down to is each year we're putting down enough organic material to keep microorganisms surviving and then allowing those plants to prosper. And that goes back into why we are a no-till system, because the truth of the matter is whenever you till and flip the soil, you're flipping down 2 or 3 inches of soil, turning it over, drying out that soil, and killing microorganisms, which are breaking down those key nutrients for your plants. So that's a long explanation, but the simple answer is that's what we're doing with compost. We're keeping microorganisms alive, feeding the plants, and keeping them healthy. So each year, you don't have to put down a lot. As you see behind me, these are squash plants. We put down about a 1/2 inch, And each year that that's put down, it's providing those key nutrients. And there again, they can thrive. So that's it. It's pretty simple. And we hope that that takes you further along in that gardening process. And that's the whole point here at Whirlwind Family Farm. I'm Jeff. We're here in Central Texas, the Texas Hill Country. We're always so glad that you tune in, check our channel out. We always try to have a couple of videos that are going to take you further along in this gardening process. So check those out. Blessings over you, your family, your garden. Talk to you soon from Whirlwind Family Farm.